At the beginning of the movie, we see Kim. He works as a cleaner in a massage parlor. One day, while cleaning the locker room, he finds an expensive bag inside a locker. Since no one is around, he opens the bag out of curiosity and sees it is completely full of money. He realizes that some customer must have forgotten it there. Therefore, he carefully keeps the bag in the storeroom and returns home. His mother, Sonia, and his wife, Sion, live in his house. He also has a daughter, but she stays in a hostel in another city for her study. So, as soon as he returns home that day, Sonia starts complaining to Kim about Sion. Actually, Sion always serves her mother-in-law. Since Sonia is ill, she cannot even walk properly. From feeding her to doing all her necessary work, Sion does everything. Besides this, Sion also works as a cleaner at the port to provide financial support to the family. But despite all this, Sonia cannot tolerate her. She feels that Sion always wants to harm them. Although Kim tries hard to explain to his mother that her idea is wrong, Sonia is very stubborn and does not pay attention to anyone's words. And there is always trouble in their house about these things. So, Kim does not argue further and goes to his room. Then Sion informs him that their daughter will not be able to take the exam this year because she does not have the money to pay the exam fee. And it was not possible for Kim to arrange that money at that time. So, the daughter decides to take a 1-year gap, collect money by doing a small job, and take the exam again next year. Hearing this, Kim feels very bad, but he has nothing to do. In the next scene, we see the port's passport officer, Tae-hun. While in the office, a man named Park calls him and asks to meet him. Hearing that, Tae-hun gets a bit nervous. After finishing office that day, he goes to meet Park. Then it is revealed that Park is a gangster. Tae-hun had taken a large amount of money as a loan from him, but his girlfriend, Yun-hai, ran away with that money. So, poor Tae-hun is in big trouble. Neither can he find any trace of Yun-hai, nor can he return Park's money. Therefore, Park gives Tae-hun a 1-week deadline for the last time and warns him that he must repay his money within this week, or else he must present Yun-hai before him. And if Tae-hun cannot do that, then Park will cut off his hand. Tae-hun then leaves from there in fear and starts thinking about how he will manage this money. Meanwhile, one day Tae-hun's friend, Do-man, calls him and informs him that he has obtained a lot of money through fraud from somewhere. But now the police are looking for him, so he wants Tae-hun's help to leave Korea. For this work, Do-man also wants to give him a 20% share of that money. Since Tae-hun needs the money, he does not object anymore. However, something else is actually going through his mind at that time. That night, he meets his cousin, Carlos. Carlos works in Gangster Park's group. Tae-hun tells him about Do-man, and he says that he is planning to grab all of Do-man's money, not just that 20%. He wants Carlos's help in this task, but Carlos does not agree to this because the job is very risky. But Tae-hun cleverly convinces him, and after that, they start planning to frame Do-man. Meanwhile, Kim goes to the office the next day and learns from a colleague that no one has come to take the bag full of money from the locker. Hearing that, he is very happy in his mind, because now he can take that bag. In the middle of this, the manager calls him. Basically, Kim was a few minutes late reaching the office that day. So, the manager warns him that if he is late like this another day, he will be fired from the job. Of course, this is nothing new. The manager behaves badly with Kim whenever he gets a chance. But Kim never reacts because the job is very important to him, so he silently starts doing his work. Suddenly, he learns that his wife, Sion, has had an accident, but it was not possible for Kim to leave there until the office time is over. So, as soon as the office time ends, he goes straight to the hospital. Going there, he sees that his daughter has already reached there. Then it is revealed that Sion was coming downstairs with her mother-in-law, but Sonia thinks that Sion might want to push her off the stairs. So, the old woman herself pushes Sion down, resulting in Sion's leg break. Kim is annoyed by his mother's actions, so he goes home and starts a fight with Sonia. But Sonia does not care at all. On the contrary, she explains to him that she saved her own life by pushing Sion. Kim then goes and closes the door in a fit of rage. He becomes very frustrated. On one hand, there is unrest in the family, and on the other hand, there is poverty. Thinking about all this, he does not realize when the time to go to the office passes. So, while still at home, he first calls the manager and tries to explain his situation. But the manager does not listen to that and informs him that he has been fired from the job. Therefore, he should not come to the office anymore. Kim is then angry at himself. He cannot understand how he will survive without a job. At such a time, he suddenly remembers that bag. So, he immediately leaves for the office. On the other hand, Tae-hun goes to the port with his cousin Carlos and waits for his friend Do-man. Tae-hun is waiting sitting in the car, and Carlos is waiting at the port gate. Their plan is that as soon as Carlos sees Do-man, he will somehow make him unconscious and run away with the bag of money. And Tae-hun will act in front of Do-man as if the money has really been snatched away. According to that plan, they keep waiting. But even after a lot of time passes, there is no trace of Do-man. Seeing that, Tae-hun gets quite tense. Meanwhile, Carlos was already nervous, so he informs Tae-hun that he will not do this work. Saying this, he leaves. At that moment, a detective named Min suddenly comes and shows Tae-hun a picture of Do-man, asking if he knows the man, but Tae-hun denies the matter. Still, Min forcibly gets into his car and takes him to a nearby expensive restaurant. While eating there, Min tells Tae-hun that he found out from Do-man's school that Tae-hun and Do-man studied there together. Tae-hun is now forced to admit that he knows Do-man. Min suspects that Tae-hun might be involved in Do-man's fraud, because Min already knew that Do-man was supposed to meet Tae-hun. However, Tae-hun denies it. He hands over his phone to Min and tells him to check if there are any call records of Do-man there. Min then checks the phone, but finds nothing like that, because Tae-hun had cleverly deleted everything beforehand. In the middle of this, a call suddenly comes to Min, so he gets up and leaves from there, and poor Tae-hun has to pay all the bills for that food. Meanwhile, Kim goes to the office and sees that a new boy has been put in charge of the storeroom. He tells the boy that he used to work in this office and some of his personal belongings are left here. He needs the key to the storeroom to take them. Then the boy gives him the key. Afterward, while Kim is leaving from there with that bag, he sees two policemen asking the new boy something. Seeing Kim there, the police also show him a picture and ask if Kim knows that man. The picture is basically of Min. Since Kim does not know Min, he says that he has never seen that man. Then it is revealed that Min is not actually a detective. He is also searching for Do-man to snatch his money. So after finishing the conversation with the police, Kim suddenly runs into the manager while leaving. Seeing him, the manager is a bit surprised. Then Kim tells him that some of his books were here and he has come to take them. The manager's eyes then go toward the expensive bag in his hand. He cannot digest the fact that a cleaner would have such an expensive bag. Moreover, why would Kim keep books in the office? Thinking about all this, the manager wants to check that bag, but Kim does not let him touch the bag. Then the manager's suspicion increases even more, but Kim avoids him and leaves from there. The scene shifts, and we now see a girl named Murin. She works in a prostitution club. One day, a Chinese guy named Jin comes to the club. He does not like any of the other girls in the club, but when Murin is brought before him, Jin likes her at first sight. After returning from the club that day, Murin's husband, Jae-hun, suddenly arrives and starts beating her. Actually, Murin had taken a loan to start a business. However, Jae-hun, lured by the hope of high interest, invested the money in a scheme and became a victim of fraud. But he always blames and beats Murin for this. He believes that if she had not taken the loan, this would not have happened. So now, he forces her to do bad work just to repay that money. Quite a few days later, Murin is carefully reading Jae-hun's life insurance papers. It is written there that if Jae-hun dies due to an accident or illness, Murin will receive $500,000. At that moment, Jin suddenly calls her and informs her that he has killed Jae-hun. Hearing this, Murin is very happy, but her happiness vanishes in an instant when Jin says that he has moved Jae-hun's body from there. Actually, this was a plan made by both of them. Jin had fallen in love with Murin. Therefore, he used to come to the club every day to spend time with her. One day, he asks Murin why she had to enter this profession. Then Murin tells him everything about Jae-hun. Jin sees the injury marks on her back, so he tells Murin that she should leave Jae-hun. But that was not possible for her. She knew that even after a divorce, Jae-hun would not let her live in peace. Then Jin gives her an idea to get freedom from Jae-hun. Murin likes the idea very much, so she does not object anymore. Their plan is that Jin will kill Jae-hun by running him over with a car, and he will prove to everyone that it was a simple accident. This way, Murin will easily get the insurance money and can live a peaceful life with Jin. But now that Jin has moved the body, it is no longer possible to pass it off as an accident. Of course, even if the body is not found, she will get the insurance money. However, for that, she has to wait 5 years. Murin does not want to wait that long. While thinking about these things, Jae-hun suddenly appears in front of her. This means Jin has not killed Jae-hun, but has accidentally killed someone else. Seeing him, Murin is as shocked as if she has seen a ghost, but she does not let Jae-hun realize it. Afterward, when Jae-hun goes to the washroom to freshen up, Jin suddenly comes there dancing. He thinks that now there is no longer any obstacle between him and Murin. Murin somehow manages him and takes him outside. She informs him that he has not killed Jae-hun, but someone else. Hearing that, Jin is thunderstruck. He cannot figure out what to do now, so Murin tells him to go back to China again. But it was not possible for Jin, because he had fled to Korea after creating some trouble there. Then Murin explains to him that no matter what, he has not committed any murder in China. Therefore, returning there will not cause a major problem. Jin agrees to return to China, but he sets a condition that Murin must also go with him. However, Murin does not agree to this. She explains to Jin that if they leave together, everyone will suspect them, so Jin should leave first. Afterward, she will go to Jin when she gets an opportunity. Jin accepts her words and returns home. Meanwhile, Gangster Park sends his men to catch T-Hun and bring him in. Going there, T-Hun learns that Park has extracted all the information about Do-Man and his money from Carlos's stomach. But even after knowing everything, T-Hun denies the matter. Park then gets angry and tells his assistant, Catfish, to cut off Carlos's hand. When Catfish goes to cut his hand, T-Hun admits everything in fear. Then Park tells him to bring the money from Do-Man. But T-Hun and his partner cannot find any trace of Do-Man. How will he bring the money? However, Park has no concern about that. He threatens T-Hun that if he does not get the money, he will kill both brothers. T-Hun then falls into great tension. He asks Carlos for help again, because Min has already started suspecting him. Therefore, he will not be able to do anything alone. But Carlos does not agree at any cost. Then T-Hun informs him that he has a lucky charm, so there is no need for them to be afraid. Hearing his words, Carlos is quite surprised. Then T-Hun tells him a story. One day, he went out for a long drive with a friend. On the way, his friend suddenly sends T-Hun to a shop to bring Lucky Strike brand cigarettes. T-Hun never smoked cigarettes. Still, he has to go to the shop for his friend. As soon as he comes out after buying the cigarettes, he sees that a truck has come and smashed their car to pieces. His friend also dies in that accident. Then T-Hun thinks to himself that if he had not gone to the shop to bring the cigarettes, he would also have lost his life like his friend. That cigarette saved his life. From then on, he considers Lucky Strike cigarettes lucky for himself and starts smoking them. Everyone should keep this cigarette in mind because there is more to the story about it later. So, by telling this story, he again convinces Carlos and they start thinking of a way to find Do-Man. For this, they decide to follow Min. Because since Min is looking for Do-Man, some clue will be found by following him. From then on, Carlos starts following Min day and night and keeps giving updates to T-Hun. Meanwhile, trouble breaks out at Murin's club. A customer wants to spend time with her, but Murin is not agreeing to go with him because her condition has become very bad after being beaten by Ji-hun the previous day. But the customer is not willing to let her go at any cost. At such a moment, Murin's boss arrives there and knocks the man unconscious. She then takes Murin to her office. Seeing her, the boss realizes that Ji-hun has beaten her. So she tells Murin that if she ever needs any help, she can inform her boss without hesitation. Hearing that, Murin feels a bit of relief. Afterward, leaving the club, she goes to Jin's house to meet him. Going there, she sees that Jin is huddled up in fear. He could not accept the fact of killing an innocent person. Then Murin explains to him that what had to happen has already happened. Now there is no point in thinking about these things. But Jin does not want to accept that. He wants to go to the police. Murin gets very scared hearing that because she herself is involved in this case. Then Jin reassures her that he will not tell the police anything about Murin. But even after this, Murin does not want to take the risk. Instead, she comes up with an idea to remove Jin's remorse. They both perform the funeral rites for that dead body following all the rules. Then Jin calms down a bit. Seeing that, Murin also feels relieved. But the next moment, Jin gets angry again. He starts walking toward the police station in the darkness of the night. Murin tries to stop him but fails. So, at one stage, she is forced to kill Jin by running him over with the car. However, after doing the deed, she feels great remorse. She also gets very nervous. At such a time, she receives a call from her hotel boss. Murin then tells her everything openly. Hearing those things, the boss immediately goes there and tells her that she will handle everything. Afterward, she destroys all the evidence through her known people. The boss takes Murin to a spa. There, she tells Murin a story about a shark. She says that more than 50 babies are conceived at once in a shark's womb. But inside the womb, the babies start eating each other. And finally, the one who survives is born as the real offspring of the shark. Through the story, she wants to explain that one must know how to fight to survive. Even if one has to kill someone else for the sake of protecting their own life, there is nothing wrong with it. At that moment, Murin notices a shark tattoo drawn on her boss's leg. She looks at the tattoo strangely. Seeing that, her boss wants to know if she also wants to get such a tattoo. When Murin agrees, she starts drawing a tattoo on Murin's body. And at the same time, she starts planning to free Murin from Ji-hun's hands. She tells Murin to mix slow poison into Ji-hun's food. Due to this, he will slowly start getting sick, and at one point, he will die naturally. The funny thing is that after death, there will be no sign of that poison in his body. So, no one will be able to understand what the real cause of death was. Afterward, when the police come for investigation, Murin will act before them as if she loved Ji-hun very much and has completely broken down at his death. So, according to that plan, Murin does everything and gets the insurance money quickly. Afterward, as per her boss's words, she decides to go to a new city and start a new life. Murin was very happy then. She even takes a good amount of money from that cash to gift her boss. But her boss informs her that she has not done anything for money. She helped Murin out of love. Afterward, they drink champagne to celebrate Murin's freedom. But as soon as she drinks it, Murin suddenly becomes unconscious. After she regains consciousness, she finds herself tied to a table in a deserted warehouse. Right next to her, her boss is preparing to murder her. Actually, she drugged Murin's champagne to make her unconscious. Her plan was to murder Murin and take all her money. This is the reason why she helped Murin so much. So Murin begs for her life from her boss here, but she does not show any mercy. She ruthlessly cuts Murin's body into pieces and leaves with those bags of money. Meanwhile, even after following Min day and night, Carlos finds no trace of Du Man. Learning that, Ti-hun returns home disappointed. But as soon as he returns home, he is shocked. He sees that Murin's boss is cooking in his kitchen. Then it is revealed that Murin's boss is actually Ti-hun's girlfriend, Yun-hai. Ti-hun is very surprised to see her after so long. On top of that, she is cooking with her own hands. Seeing this superficial love, he gets annoyed and asks Yun-hai why she has come back again. Then Yun-hai apologizes to him repentantly and informs him that she has returned after realizing her mistake. Hearing that, Ti-hun becomes emotional. Afterward, they both get very close. After spending some time together, Yun-hai informs him that she will go to her aunt's house in Japan for a few days. But some problem has occurred with her passport, which is why she has borrowed a friend's passport. She wants Ti-hun to approve the passport. Then Ti-hun takes the passport and sees the name Murin written there. Although he did not know Murin, he understands that Yun-hai wants to escape to Japan using Murin's identity, and she has returned only to achieve this self-interest. Then Yun-hai explains to him that his assumption is wrong. She has returned because she loves Ti-hun. But Ti-hun does not believe her words. At that moment, their doorbell suddenly rings, and Ti-hun goes and opens the door to see that Min has come to meet him. Since he could not pay the dinner bill the previous day, he has brought food for Ti-hun that day. However, Ti-hun does not want to let him inside. Some suspicion then arises in Min's mind. He forcibly enters the room on the pretext of going to the washroom. Seeing Yun-hai there, greed arises in his heart. Actually, the man's character was not good at all. Seeing a girl, his heart would start fluttering, so he forcibly starts chatting while sitting with Ti-hun and Yun-hai. In the middle of this, a call comes to Min. From there, he learns that Du Man has been caught by the police. Hearing that, Ti-hun gets a bit tensed, because Du Man's money was his only hope. Afterward, Min further informs that the police have recently found a body in the river. Min thought it might be Du Man's body, so he went to check. But going there, he sees that it is a girl's body. Her body was cut into pieces and thrown into the river, and the girl also had a shark tattoo on her leg. He also shows Ti-hun the picture of that tattoo. Seeing that, Ti-hun is extremely terrified because it was exactly like Yun-hai's tattoo. He realizes that Yun-hai must have a hand behind that girl's murder. However, he does not let Min realize the matter. At such a time, Carlos's call comes to Ti-hun. He was calling repeatedly, and Ti-hun was cutting the call repeatedly. Seeing that, Min tells him to receive the call, and Ti-hun says it is nothing important. In the middle of this, when their beer runs out, Ti-hun runs to the shop to bring beer, and taking that opportunity, he calls Carlos. Then Carlos informs him about the body found in the river. He thought it might be Yun-hai's body. Then Ti-hun informs him that it is not Yun-hai's body. Yun-hai and Min are sitting in his house right now. Hearing this, Carlos is very surprised. Then Ti-hun tells him that since Yun-hai wants to flee the country, she must have a lot of money. So, if they can grab the money, all problems will be solved. Hearing that, Carlos agrees to help him. So, after that, Ti-hun returns home and sees something beyond his imagination. He sees that Yun-hai is trying to drag Min's body to the washroom after killing him too. He is stunned to see this scene. Then Yun-hai informs him that Min was trying to touch her body. However, she had no concern about her respect. Her concern was that Min might see her tattoo, because if he saw that, she would be caught. So Yun-hai was forced to kill Min. Afterward, she drags the body to the washroom and starts cutting it, and she forcibly sends Ti-hun to clean the blood lying on the floor. Ti-hun is also forced to obey her, because since the house is his, he will be the first one to fall into trouble. However, after a while, when Yun-hai comes out of the washroom, Ti-hun hits her on the head and knocks her unconscious. Afterward, he takes her car keys and goes to the garage. Going there, he opens the back trunk of the car and sees a bag full of money, and he immediately runs away with the car including the bag. Meanwhile, Gangster Park arrives at Ti-hun's house along with Carlos. Actually, while Carlos was talking to Ti-hun on the phone, Park overheard everything from behind and reached there to catch Yun-hai. This is because if he catches Yun-hai, he will get the loan money he gave to Ti-hun. So, after Yun-hai regains consciousness, she gets very scared seeing Park in front of her. Before Park asks her anything, she says that she will repay all of his money right now. Therefore, Park tells her to show him the money. At that moment, Yun-hai somehow gets up and looks for her car keys, only to find that the keys are not there. She realizes that Ti-hun must have run away with her money. Then, she calls Ti-hun in front of Park to ask about her money. Since Ti-hun does not know about Park being there, he admits that he is fleeing the country with the money. Hearing this, Park immediately sends his men to the port to catch catfish T-Hun. Basically, this is the same bag that Kim found at the beginning of the story. In other words, everything we have seen so far was a flashback. At that time, there was no one else in the parlor except Kim. So T-Hun asks him to bring a pack of cigarettes for him. But Kim informs him that he cannot leave the office and go out. Therefore, T-Hun sets out himself to bring the cigarettes. While buying the cigarettes, he suddenly notices a car parked a little distance away. Suspicion arises in T-Hun's mind. He starts walking through a nearby alley. At that moment, Park's assistant, Catfish, comes in front of him and chases him to attack. When T-Hun tries to flee from there, a few more people come and surround him. However, while trying to escape from their hands, he unfortunately dies in an accident with a car, and his lucky cigarette pack lies on the road. The cigarette because of which his life was saved one day, today he had to give his life because of that very same thing. How strange, isn't it? However, Park suffers the most in this accident because T-Hun died before he could learn anything about the money. Therefore, he returns from there disappointed. And it is after this that the incident of Kim losing his job occurs, and he takes that bag full of money to his house. The next day, he tells his wife, Seon, to quit her job and wants to start a business with her. Then, Seon says a bit with irritation that a lot of money is needed to do business. Where will that come from then? Then Kim informs her that he will be able to manage the money, but Seon goes to work without paying any attention to his words. Afterward, Kim receives a call from his manager. The manager asks to meet him to give him his due salary. However, he tells Kim to meet not at the office but at a cafe. Kim does not agree to his words at first, but due to the manager's insistence, he is forced to go there. Going there, he meets Park and Yun-Hai, who had gone there disguised as police officers. So Park directly asks him about that bag. However, Kim does not admit anything. He states that he also has a similar bag. His wife had gifted it to him on his birthday. Hearing that, Park silently comes out of there. Afterward, when Kim sets off for home, they start following him secretly. They go to Kim's house and see that he is trying to hide those bills. Kim then gets scared seeing them and returns the money while apologizing to them. While counting the money, Yun-Hai sees that one bundle is missing there. Then Kim informs her that he has spent that money as his daughter's tuition. However, he promises Yun-Hai that he will repay the money slowly. Since Kim did not take much money, they also start leaving from there without creating further trouble. At such a time, Kim's mother, Sunya, comes and blocks their way. She thought that perhaps Seon had sent Park and his associate to disturb them. Kim tries to explain to her that Park and the lady are police, so they have come for some urgent work. But Sunya does not believe this. She looks at the tattoo on Park's hand and asks since when the Korean police started having tattoos on their hand. Actually, it was forbidden for Korean government employees to have tattoos on their body, and even if someone had a tattoo, it had to be kept covered during duty time. Because of this, Sunya realizes that those people are not police. Then she grabs Yun-Hai's hair and starts beating her. Seeing these things, Park gets annoyed and hits Sunya and Kim on their heads, making them unconscious. Right at that time, Yun-Hai goes and attacks Park with a knife. She could not accept that Park would snatch the money from her, for which she had to face so much trouble. So she finally murders Park, takes the money, and leaves from there. And while leaving, she sets the house on fire so that there is no chance for anyone to survive. By chance, Park's assistant, Catfish, was standing outside at that time. He sees smoke coming out from inside the house and quickly goes inside. Going there, he sees that Yun-Hai has killed his boss. Therefore, he sets out to find Yun-Hai. By then, Kim regains consciousness. He then sees the fire burning in the house and gets very scared. Fortunately, before any major damage occurs, he somehow carries his mother on his shoulder and comes out from there. Kim was deeply broken seeing that condition of the house. Then Sunya goes and explains to him that there is no point in regretting what is gone. They will get everything back again by working hard. Hearing this, a lot of confidence returns to Kim's mind. Meanwhile, Yun-Hai goes to the port. Because her ship is a bit delayed, she also keeps that bag in a locker and goes to the washroom. At that moment, Catfish also reaches there. Seeing him, Yun-Hai wants to give him all the money out of fear, but Catfish had no greed for money. He had gone there to take revenge for his boss's death. Therefore, he brutally murders Yun-Hai inside that washroom and comes out from there. This means, for deceiving Murin and T-Hun, Yun-Hai also met the exact same fate. So, within a short time, the news of Yun-Hai's death spreads throughout the entire area. Then the port security guards check the CCTV footage, see Catfish, and immediately arrest him. Afterward, while cleaning the washroom, Seon finds that key to Yun-Hai's locker. Out of curiosity, when she opens the locker, she finds that bag full of money, and hiding it from everyone, she starts returning home. This means, by coming full circle, this money goes to Kim's family again, and here the story ends. Actually, blinded by the greed for money, people forget to judge the difference between right and wrong. And this very thing has basically happened with the characters of today's story. However, my opinion is that no matter how difficult the situation comes in life, never try to solve it through the wrong path, because one mistake gives birth to many more mistakes.